Hi friends, today I am going to discuss the migration technique from on-prem Oracle to Aurora MySQL. So let's see the high-level steps. Well, at first I'll be telling you the softwares required for this today's training. And thereafter I'll be preparing the Oracle software, Oracle source database. I'll be basically checking some of the objects, provide the grants, some kind of things. Then I'll be creating this target Aurora MySQL. Thereafter I'll be using this SCD tool to convert the schema from Oracle to Aurora MySQL. And then I'll be creating and configure the DMS related stuffs and rest of the things like the cutover from source database and the delete resources. So at the beginning, for this today's training, these softwares would be required, and this is the URL. So I'll require the SCD tools for this is a schema conversion tool from Amazon. I'll be required SQL Workbench for connecting to the source and target database. I'll be requiring this JDBC driver files. This will be also required for the SQL Workbench, and so Oracle and the MySQL. So at first I require to configure source Oracle database. I already having a Oracle database running on my EC2, not on Palm. So you have to consider it is running on Palm. First of all, I'll be checking this, what are the objects I'm going to migrate from Oracle to MySQL. Then I'll be checking this and the privileges, like privileges requiring for, kind of a grants are required for migrations, for supplemental logging, for requiring for log miner. Then I'll be also checking this whether it is in archive log mode, something like that. So let's begin. This is my source systems. I already been having a Oracle database running here, Oracle 12.1. So this is the my source database name is WordCL. So I'll be first checking that what are the objects are there with me. So mostly I'll have 7 tables, and these are the rows. And also I have I'll show you what are the constants are available with me. Like this is R is pre is the primary primary, R is the secondary or the foreign key, and this is a constant. So 10, 7, 2. Now I'll be requiring some grants for this migration, so I'll be running all of them together. Okay, additional grants will be required for log miner because for transactional logs. So HR will be my schema user, and I am providing all grants to the HR user. I already have the database running in that archive log mode, so I'm not going to perform these things. Yeah, if your database is not running the archive log mode, you have to shut down the database and start up mount and then alter database archive log. So this is the default thing. You can change the archive log destinations if you want. The next step would be the verifying and setting up the supplemental loggings. For me, it is already set. I just show you that how to set these things. First you have to check this whether it is compatible or not. It it is compatible is 12.1.20, then I'll be checking this supplemental log data and from database. Yes. And for supplementing supplement logs, there is two ways to do that. First of all, you can either set in the database levels, and you can set in the schema table levels. I normally, whenever it's required, I have seen that if you want to set even the table levels, sometimes it don't work. So for this exercise, I'll be setting in the both. I'll be first setting in the database levels, and thereafter I'll be setting for individual schema table level as well. Since I'll be using this HS schema, so this script will give me this all the SQL statement for 7 tables. It's already been set up at my level. So if I'll again set up, it will give me error because it's already been set up. Just I'll show you. It says it's already applied since, but you will get this script. You have to just execute if it is not set up for level. So if your owner is different, just change the owner here. Okay, so this is my the source level steps. Thereafter, the next steps, I'll be installing this Aurora MySQL, and I'll be doing some kind of steps like creating database, just doing some kind of grants, and check the connectivity. I'm going to connect now to my target MySQL database using SQL Workbench. So this is my writer endpoint. So let me test the connection. Okay, successful. Let me connect. So as you are aware, I am going to perform some steps like I'll be creating some user, and I'll be providing some grants as well. So let me create my user. Username will be the same as schema name. So is user HR created. Now I'll be providing some grants. And as well, for this grant will be required for launching a replication instance later. Okay. Now my target user is created. I have created this schema user. I have provided the grants. The next steps, I'm going to run the schema conversion tools to convert the schemas from source Oracle to target MySQL Aurora. Well, now going to connect. I'll take this DNS IP address as a source name. Okay, test the connection. Okay, successful. Now I'm going to connect to my Aurora. Okay, I believe this. Okay. Let's test the connection. Successful. Okay. Now, as I know, I'm only going to migrate the data from HR schema. So I'm unchecked everything and check only HR. The first steps, I'm going to create an assessment report. Okay, create report. Okay, now this is the report summary. It's saying most of the things are green. That means object automatically converted, and only constants. One constant is object with simple actions. So you can save the report if it is big one. If it is need to be thoroughly checked, you can save the either of the CSV or the PDF versions. So let's see the action items. It says for the action items, it says one view. It says about the view. MySQL doesn't support view with the read-only option. Okay, and the MySQL doesn't support constants on view. So if you check this one, it's having, this is a view. It is having the read-only option. So that means once it is converted, it won't having the read-only things, and also doesn't support the constant on view. There is a constant there. So this constant, so this also won't be migrated. That's fair with us. Let's minimize. Okay. Now I am going to convert the schema. Yes. Okay. Now if I'll check these things, I can see that the view, if you see this, the difference, this view comes with the read-only options. This view is not already, it shows that MySQL doesn't support that, and it also doesn't have any kind of constraints. So looks good. So let's minimize this. Okay, I'm going to apply to the database. Okay, and the last steps, I'm going to refresh from database. So everything looks good. Now my conversion portion is end. Okay, now I'm going to check some of the validations after schema conversions completed in target MySQL Aurora. First, I'll check the count of this. So that means we got 7 indexes, 2 procedures, 7 tables, 4 triggers, and 1 view. Okay. Now we'll check some of the constants things. If you can see this, the constants foreign key 10, primary key 7, and 1 unique key. And if I'll vis-a-vis, if I'll open, if I'll open the target, if you see that everything is matches except this unique key. This is because if you remember during this schema conversion tools, we got some kind of warning that MySQL doesn't support constants on the view. That means that particular unique constants is not replicated, not migrated, so that we got 2 constants on the source side and 1 constant is removed. That is a view on constants on view. That's why you got only 1. Okay, so now this steps validation is done. So the next steps will be doing this DMS steps. So I'm going to choose this database migration service console. At beginning, I'm going to create the replication instance. save out by rep descriptions. I just copy. Okay, I'll choose T2 small because this is only one schema and also the less cost for that. I may require 50 GBs. I may require 30 GB at max. So I'll choose my VPC, and the thing is that it's always ideal for most of the cases that you choose your target instance and your replication in the same VPC. So publicly accessible, yes. I'll choose some kind of okay. This is my security groups, and rest of the thing should be default. Okay. So this might take maybe 2-3 minutes. So in the meantime, I'll create my endpoints. First, I'll choose my source endpoint. I'll say source Oracle. It's Oracle. Server name. Let me get it from my city console. I'll copy the public DNS IPv4 1521. Username, here I should be using my DNS username. This is the password. CL. Okay, here I am going to use some kind of endpoint connections. So here so for this For this source endpoint, I am going to create a endpoint specific settings. This will enable me that supplemental logging. Okay, test endpoint connection I'll do later once this replication instance is created. So let me do the target. So target will be easy since it is RDS, everything will come as a drop down. One of the things I'm going to do, okay, there will be a endpoint specific as well. So I'll be using for it will disable the foreign key at the time of loading, and I'll also put auto commit is equal to 1, that is it will do the auto commit. Okay, hopefully my replication instance is now ready. Yeah, it's ready. So let's create the database migration task. Now creating the database migration task. The task name as cloud by task, replication instance, source instance, target endpoints. Put this as migrate existing data and replicate ongoing changes. Okay, I'll be doing some table mapping and enable cloud logs. For guided UI, I'll be add new selections, schema name is equal to HR. Then as per this recommendation from Oracle to Aurora MySQL, I'll be adding some kind of transformation rules. So this rule says that all schemas, tables and columns should be converted into the lower cases. So first I'll choose schema name, everything, make lowercase. Then second transformation rule should be for table. Okay, lowercase. Third transformation rule should be for column. Lowercase. Okay, create task. Now you can see that my full load is completed. That means my all the tables got completed. It is now waiting for me to do some kind of replication ongoing. So I'll be putting some data into the source, and hopefully that it will be replicated to my target as well. Okay, this is my source database. Show user. Okay, so I'm inserting something in the jobs table. Say job ID. Title. Main. Okay, let me put as a say manager tick minimum salary 2000, max salary 7000. And let me put again another one, say for supervisor, say engineering salary 3000, maximum salary 8000, and commit. Let me go back if it is already replicated or not. Go to the stable statistics. Yeah, you can see that it's already replicated to my target instance. So we are good here. Well, since our migration is completed and we assume there will be no replication needed from source system, let me stop the database migration task. Okay, it's stopping. So now we'll be doing our post migration validations in the Aurora MySQL. So I'll be running some very simple scripts to check if everything is fine. Let me run this SQL. Well, there will be no table and no table rows. So what happens? I just saw that my migration is completed. So why it is not showing here? Any clue? Let me tell you. If you remember that we have taken one kind of transformation rule, that we changed our schema name schema as well as table schema, table and column in lowercase. So that's why, since it is in the uppercase not showing, if I put in the lowercase, it should show. Yes. Similarly, here is also I have to change and Okay. Yes. So that means that our migration is completed. Our transformation rule for replacing, converting everything from the uppercase to lowercase is also completed successfully. So the last steps, I'll be doing this. Okay, it's not mentioned here, but I'll be also try to show you what is, if there is any cutover is required, what is the way to do cutover. Well, the cutover is, suppose if you are in the real-time situations, you are migrate your data from source to destinations. So once everything is migrated, you can maybe route your application from your source to new target. So thereafter, if your source is not needed, you can do a cutover to make sure there will be nothing is there for replications. Ideally, that step needs to be done before stopping your replication process. So I'll show you. This is a very simple commands. Suppose this is MySQL. Okay, this is same for MySQLs and Postgres because you have to perform these steps on your source side. So you have to check that how many connections you have. Okay. You got 42 connections. I have 42 connections. I have to, I'm never bothered to close these connections. I can kill the connections, like killing the connection like in the alter system kill command. I'll try to kill one. I'll show you. Let's pick this one. Session. Yeah. So this way you can kill your session, and you can, if it is required, you can shut down your all instances in Oracle databases. So yeah, I can shut down as well. So that way, yeah, my source system is now totally down. Now as a last steps, I'm going to delete my DMS resources because they are quite costly. If you don't delete these resources, it will cost you money. So first I'm going to delete my tasks. Okay, and then I'm going to delete the replication instance. Okay, sorry, this won't delete until your database migration tasks will be deleted. So let me go by the endpoints. Okay, now everything is deleted. So hopefully today's session is resourceful. You get to know that how we can migrate on-prem Oracle to Aurora MySQL. So hopefully you enjoy these sessions. So thank you. Please watch. Goodbye.